10 movies. We couldn't possibly do 10 movies again this week, could we? Yes, we could. Yes, we could. Welcome to the Screening Room Podcast.
Are either one of these any good?
Wow, this is a good movie.
It's pretty good.
Well, the director from yesterday doesn't think so.
It stinks.
He's sorry. You waste our film.
It's so bad.
Yeah, busy time at the movies here late summer.
Yes,
Kids going back to school. Not even Labor Day weekend yet. Welcome to the Screening Room Podcast. She is Hope Madden.
He's George Wolf.
And let's start on the big screen with a big sequel from a fun movie of 4 years ago. 4 years ago.
First up in theaters, suburban dad Hutch Mansell, a former lethal assassin, is pulled back into his violent past after thwarting a home invasion, setting off a chain of events that unravels secrets about his wife Becca's past and his own. Nobody to.
I need to start by saying that summary is wildly inaccurate. It's like
I just read what they put on the card.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with anything. Hutch, at the end of the last movie, Bob Odenkirk, who's the only reason that these movies work at all, because it's such a funny idea that Bob Odenkirk is the Liam Neeson of this movie franchise.
It was a great bit of casting for the original. Really
it absolutely was. So at the end of the last one, he just embraced the fact that he's an assassin, and so did his family, and they were going to be much happier for it. But now what they find is that he works a lot. He works too much, and he used to be the center of the household, and now everybody is going their own way, and they're not including him in anything, and he still can't get the garbage out on time. So he decides that they're going to go on a vacation, and he chooses the one vacation he ever took with his dad and his brother, Riza, and his dad is Christopher from
Lloyd.
Thank you. Back to the Future. Sorry. But once
that's all right. I couldn't remember Kerry Washington last week, so we're even.
Right. Once his family is at this Somerville, this weird Midwestern, like boating and camping kind of a situation, he realizes that the only reason that they went there when they were kids is because it's this hotbed of illegal activity, and his dad was an assassin as well. So they fall into this big trap, and there's a lot of punching and fighting and blowing stuff up, and teeth going everywhere, and people losing their fingers, and it's very similar to the original.
Sounds like a normal vacation.
Yeah. It's a reason to put the whole family in like Hawaiian shirts and have Bob Odenkirk punch somebody repeatedly and say, "I'm on vacation." It's a little tiresome. One of the things I thought was interesting about this movie is that its director Timo Tjahjanto, who mainly has done horror movies, Indonesian horror movies. He's also done a couple of pretty good Indonesian action flicks. But this is his first sort of big Hollywood, all English language movie. And I think that he does a solid job. I don't think the action choreography is anything that's that fascinating. It certainly isn't badly done. It's just whatever. It's fun. It's brightly colored. It's silly. I think my biggest issue with this, besides the fact that once you realize that Bob Odenkirk is your man, and once you've lost that sort of piece of novelty, that's a big part of the charm of the original. But also Derek Kolstad, who wrote the original, he's written most of the John Wick movies. Basically, he has a single movie in him, and he spins it off in 50 directions. He has no idea how to write for women in this one aspect. They have to constantly refer to the fact that they're women, which I rarely do. I rarely find myself talking to you and then pointing out to you that I'm your wife and a woman, a mama bear, a bitch. And it's really just write like a character. You don't have to go, okay, what would this woman say right now about being a woman in this situation? Very womanly. I hated that. And it's too bad because Connie Nielsen is a very solid actor. And Sharon Stone is the villain. And I think that she could have had a little bit more fun in the character. Oh, yeah. She seemed like she was having a good time. But if the dialogue was a little bit better, it might have been better. So, on the whole, it's fine. It's not nearly as much fun as the original, but it's fine.
And it's quick. 90 minutes. In and out, boom.
Yeah.
Punch, punch, punch. But it's a deal where, look, if you are a fan of the first one, it's going to serve up, for the most part, more of what you like, except that novelty's gone. Yeah. The fact that, Bob Odenkirk, we already know that he's an assassin and he kicks a lot of ass. He's going to kick some more. Yeah. And I'm just looking over at the screen of IMDb, and the genre is one-person army. I like that. That's what the guy writes. I got another one-person army movie in me. and that's Nobody 2, and it's it's in theaters now.
Also in theaters, the lives of local outsiders and outcasts violently intertwine when a rare Lakota ghost shirt falls onto the black market in a small South Dakota town. It's Americana.
South Dakota getting some love here lately. We just
saw 2 of them this week.
Yeah, that's right. 2 of them, and there's another one that I can't remember off the top of my head now, but South Dakota is getting some love out there in the American West. Yeah, Sydney Sweeney, might have heard of her. She's part of this ensemble, and actually she is good, and the whole ensemble is too. This is the feature debut for Tony Tost, who's done a lot of TV. We don't watch TV, so we haven't seen it, but I've heard of Poker Face. A lot of people like that.
Oh yeah, that's supposed to be
involved with Poker Face. That's one of his, and some others. So he's making the leap here to features, and this one at times it's entertaining. It does sort of feel like maybe some TV, maybe trying too hard to jump up and do something that's reminiscent of the Coen brothers and maybe some Tarantino. It's told in chapters, all the rage right now, in case you haven't noticed. Shifting timelines. All these people in South Dakota get on the trail of this artifact, this Indian artifact. It's a Lakota ghost shirt. And it's on the black market, worth a lot of money after it's stolen from The Wiz. Speaking of South Dakota, The Wiz gets more love this week too. Toby Huss.
Toby Huss.
So he
was in Weapons last week.
Yeah, he was in Weapons. He plays this pompous ass guy who has the ghost shirt, and then it's stolen from him on the black market, and all these people are after it, including Sydney Sweeney. She's a diner waitress with a severe stammer, and she wants to be a country singer, and she becomes friends with Paul Walter Hauser. I do that all the time. Paul Walter Hauser, who is always good as well. And he's this local schlub who just has a habit of asking every woman he goes out with to marry him. And then you've got this boy who is convinced that he is the reincarnation of Sitting Bull. And they're just there's just 3 of the many people after this ghost shirt. Halsey is in it as well. She's really good, and she's part of this. She comes from a family, this real fundamentalist, weird, creepy family that she's estranged from, but she eventually has to go back to them as part of trying to get this shirt. Simon Rex is in the ensemble. Eric Dane. Zahn McClarnon, who he's one of those that guys. He was in, I remember him best from Dr. Sleep.
Oh yeah.
But he's always good too. He's one of the Native Americans who wants the shirt, and there's a lot of people, and a lot of blood is spilled, and a lot of crazy back and forth and crisscrossing. There's funny dialogue. There's some moments that are laugh out loud funny, but it's just quirky, and it's strange, and it seems like a movie and a filmmaker who's trying to do the Coen thing, the Tarantino thing, and it works. It works a lot of the time. It is entertaining. It's a little under 2 hours, so maybe a tad long. Maybe could have trimmed up a little, but it moves pretty quickly, and you are interested in these characters, and the ensemble is good. All the performers, even with limited screen time, are good. I just don't think it leaves much of a memorable mark after it's over. If you're in there watching, you're going to be entertained. If you're fine with these crime thrillers with a little bit of comedy thrown in and some bloodshed and just crazy, like what's going on now, it'll fit that bill. And I think it's promising as a feature filmmaker for Tony Tost. But still, it just seems like almost like the one. Well, remember Drive Away Dolls? It was done by a Coen. Trying to, what would the Coens do in this situation? Well, I'm one of the Coens, so I do this. Now and then it seems like, it's trying just a little bit too hard, but it does. It gets the job done. Not great. It's just in that middle. Certainly not a bad movie, but you're probably hoping for just a little bit more staying power, a little bit more memorable once you're done with it. So it really doesn't deliver that, but perfectly entertaining if you're in the mood for a crazy romp, and that is Americana. That's in theaters now.
We'll stay in theaters for a new horror film. A cursed witchboard awakens dark forces, dragging a young couple into a deadly game of possession and deception. It's Witchboard.
Woo! Back to 1986.
Yeah.
Tawny Katane.
That's right.
Kids, if you don't know that name, she's the woman on top of the car in the Here I Go Again Whitesnake video.
Yeah.
She was an 80s vixen there for a while.
With so much hair.
So much hair.
So much hair.
And this was one of her high points.
Yeah. Yeah.
Witchboard from 86. But now we got a new one.
That's right. I've seen, of course, Witchboard from 86. I saw it a number of times. It's not good. It's just one of those fun, throwaway 80s horror movies.
Campy.
You would watch on HBO because it was on. I've seen it many times for that very reason. And you know, does it need a remake? No. No. Is the remake really good? No. Is it kind of good? No. But it's fun. You know, it is. It is. It's like a modern version of. I mean, it's not a streamer. You can go see it in theaters, but it just feels like one of those movies that you were just going to find on late at night and go, okay, I'll watch this right now. You know, a young woman she's a recovering addict, and she and her fiance they're about to open a restaurant in New Orleans, and they're out sort of hiking in the woods, and she finds an antique pendulum board and a cat. And she takes them both home.
Sure.
Because that's pure idiocy. I don't care who you are. That's just, wow, look at this demonic looking board. Hey, and there's a cat on it. I'm going to take them both.
What if you only could take one? What if you just could take one?
Well,
You're taking the cat. Right.
Obviously.
Pendulum board.
No. And so bad things start to happen. And the more she plays with the board, the worse things, you know, start to happen because, of course, the board is attached to a witch from the 1600s that is trying to take over her body. You know, there are a couple of interesting, fun twists to this one because the original, of course, being in 1986 is strictly just sexist. And this one tries to, I think, complicate those notions a little bit. And so that's fun. And also, I think that you get a couple of good villains out of it that I liked, and in particular, Jamie Campbell Bower, who, and it's funny, he's been in a ton of stuff, and you probably recognize his face. But the first thing I ever saw him in, he was one of the young lovers in Sweeney Todd. And as much as I like the movie Sweeney Todd, I don't like musicals, and so I hated the whole young lovers nonsense.
I would not. I like Sweeney Todd a lot.
Yeah.
I would not have recognized him. I would not have made that call.
But he does a good job as the guy that you know is a bad guy, no matter what everybody else says. And there's also, it's pretty gory. And there's a modern day sort of mirroring of an ancient big group slaughter, and they're both fun. And again, and it looks good, and it's not terrible. It really isn't. I enjoyed it, but it's not a good movie. So I think you probably know who you are if you're the audience for this. Yeah, this is not going to be very good. I'm going to go anyway. That's you.
One of the things that surprised me about this, really talking about the sexist, was it gets its R rating, but there's not rampant nudity, which you kind of would. A lot of guys go, oh man.
Yeah, no, there's one. So you know, they go to a party on the solstice at the villain's house, his big mansion, as former plantation that's been in his family for generations. So that right there, you know what a horrible person he is. And it's like a bacchanal kind of a thing. Yeah. You've got over here, over there, you've got some nudity, but it could have been like the main character is never nude, even though she's got a shower scene. She's got, they clearly made a decision that that was not going to be
just a little surprising, especially since you already have that R rating. So, you know, usually they run with it, but not so much here. So, but Witchboard also, if you go, watch out for the popcorn tub.
That's right.
At least where we were, they have the special Witchboard popcorn tub.
Yeah, they just gave me as I came in.
That's all the rage
I don't even
right
eat
now
popcorn.
Too.
They just handed me a popcorn tub.
So you're taking it.
All right.
Oh, and here's this.
Wear it as a hat.
And here's this pendulum and a cat. Please take that home as well. And then best of luck to you. But yeah, you're right. You pretty much know if you are the audience for this. Yeah. So it's mindless time waster.
Yes,
right?
It is a mindless time waster.
If you like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So Witchboard, the update from 1986. It's kind of weird it took them this long to remake it. Like there hadn't been any more remakes in between.
It is kind of a funny thing because the same filmmaker, right after Witchboard, he made Night of the Demon,
right?
Which is
like that
classic bad 80s horror movie. It's terrible. I don't think George's ever seen it. You would hate it, but I watched it probably 100 times with my best friend Teddy Sykes. And they did remake that in maybe the first decade of the 2000s, also set in New Orleans. So I don't know why it took them another 15 years to make this one, 20 years to make this one, but
well, here it is.
Yeah.
With its popcorn tub. And it's in theaters now, Witchboard.
Also in theaters, after the mysterious appearance of a stranger in their home, a young black family must deal with the fallout of their choices, big and small, as a steadfast detective tries to crack the case over the course of one fateful night. It's The Knife.
Yeah, this is interesting. This is the debut as a director and a co-writer of Nnamdi Asomugha. And he was a former NFL football star from back in the day. And he was good. I think he played, I don't know, 10, 12 years, something like that. And he was for a while, he was one of the best defensive backs in the league. And he retired, I believe, in 2013. And before that, just in those last couple of years, he started dipping his toe into film and filmmaking and taking some supporting roles here and there. And he is married to Kerry Washington, which I tried to remember last week. But so now he's taken a big step with help from Mark Duplass, who co-writes this script. And Asomugha also stars as a construction worker, and he's tired. It's very late one night. His wife wakes up, and it's a kind of 1 o'clock in the morning, and they're flirty. And it's a nice opening. It's one of those openings where it's organic, and it gives you a sense that you know these characters, without a lot of undue exposition. But it's so tired, and are they going to have some sexy time? And no, they're just too tired.
They're tired.
And the
they
kids,
got little kids.
They got the kids, and they both have work tomorrow, and then the alarm is going to go off before you know it. So it's fun and flirty, but no. Well, their night is going to be interrupted because they hear some bumps in the night, and Chris, Nnamdi Asomugha's character, he goes out to investigate, and it's this haggard old woman just standing in his kitchen, and she doesn't really respond to, hey, what are you doing, or what's going on? And by the time that his wife, Alex is her name, she comes out to investigate as well. Well, by then, the old woman is on the floor, unconscious, with a knife nearby, and Chris doesn't remember what happened. And he has had some problems with pain, and he's got some memory issues, and he takes some medications, some very strong medications for his pain. So right away, there's lots of elements come in that start blurring the truth and blurring how we're going to get to exactly what happened. And they figure they should probably call the police, but Alex doesn't want to bring the police into this. They bought their house, and they were able to get a good deal on it because they live in quote unquote bad neighborhood. So once the police arrive and light up the whole neighborhood with cruisers, right away the script starts setting up issues on both sides. There are reasons that you understand why the police are skeptical of certain things, but then the police bring in things that seem to intentionally escalate the situation as well, with their predetermined opinions about this area of town, the people that live there. Maybe there are stereotypes and profiling. So the script smartly sets that up in both ways. And then by the time the lead detective, played by Melissa Leo, Oscar winner Melissa Leo, shows up, she's so good. By the time she shows up and she starts asking some of the harder questions, and sometimes you think there's an attitude there, there's some intentional poking there, sometimes not. And so it's slippery that way. And that's the thing that the script and the movie does well, the slipperiness of the truth and how we're getting at it, and so many things that can cloud the truth and people's motivations. And maybe that knife was not where we see it. Maybe that knife wasn't originally in that woman's hand. Could someone have put it there just to make it look better for us? We got to find that. We got to get to the truth. And that's what the movie is about. It could be almost like a chamber piece, really. It's a very isolated setting. There's a lot of superfluous characters in the background, other policemen and stuff. But basically, for main characters, there's just a few, as they're trying to. This could easily be a play, as they're trying to get to the truth here. But I think the biggest weakness of this movie is that it's barely 80 minutes long, and it's with credits. It's like 82, and it just feels a bit unfinished. It feels like you're waiting. It does a good job bringing up questions, and seems like it pulls punches at the end, where it could have gotten a little more meaty, giving you a little more meat on the bone toward a satisfying ending. So that's the biggest problem for me with it. It just felt unfinished and short because they had the time. It's not like it was 2 hours. We got to wrap this up. They had the time. Maybe they could have invested in it a little bit more. They had a good thing going here. I think it's a promising start as a filmmaker for Nnamdi Asomugha. And of course, getting help from Mark Duplass. That's not a bad thing. So yeah, I would say this is a filmmaker and a career now, transitioning from football into film is going quite well. He's taken a big step up with this one, and it's promising. Not quite there yet. The end kind of just leaves it a little bit wanting, but a solid opening here for The Knife, and it is in theaters now.
Also in theaters, a perfect storm of lousy news sees out-of-work filmmaker Jimmy Lang spiral into a bender, during which he claims to have been abducted by aliens, and fearing their return, he contacts his old friend Stiggs to help him gear up for war. Jimmy and Stiggs.
Eli Roth presents.
That's right.
I tell you, Joe Begos.
Yeah.
He can put a fever dream, a drug-fueled.
Yes.
You're looking for a drug-fueled fever dream.
Yeah.
He's your man.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Bliss.
Yes.
But then before that, VFW is very same thing. He likes VFW. This is closer to that in that it's mainly one setting and it's just nuts. Joe Begos plays Jimmy, and you never really leave his house in LA. And it was actually shot. This was shot over 4 years in his house with the 16mm camera and a lot of day glow paint and entirely practical effects and so it's a very DIY kind of a movie, and it has that feel, but not in a way that's like amateurish. It's like, what if somebody who has talent decides, I'm just going to sort of make a movie in my back room every so often whenever I have a minute. It opens kind of GoPro style, right, where you're just his point of view as he's getting some bad news. He's down on his luck as a filmmaker, and his best friend from childhood through adulthood, who's also his producer, has passed. Does not want to make his new movie, and that's Stiggs. So Jimmy gets very, 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 very drunk, snorts all the drugs, drinks everything right out of the bottle, and then aliens come.
What?
And he loses a big chunk of time. And then he remembers this show that he used to watch with Stiggs when he was a kid, and it was this alien abduction thing. And so he's trying to piece it together, and he just needs to talk to Stiggs to help jar his memory so he can figure out how to kill these sardine motherfuckers when they come back. And Stiggs, he just keeps leaving message after message after message. And finally, Stiggs is just shows up at his house because he's afraid he's just gone completely off the deep end.
Right.
And this is where the real conflict comes in for me, right? Because the reason Stiggs doesn't like Jimmy anymore is because Stiggs is 6 months sober. So then he, he's like, well, drink now. You're here now. Drink now. It's very, I thought that part of the film had something interesting to say. It was kind of fascinating. It just becomes like, what do you do? What do you do with this person that you love who is so bad for you? Do you just let him get abducted by aliens? Maybe you should. I don't know. I'm not here to judge. It's incredibly colorful. It's almost entirely just this two-man show in this one setting. And the practical effects are fun and funny. It's not even 80 minutes long and just about wears out its welcome. I mean, a part of it is that it clearly is mainly unscripted, and Joe Begos is no kind of an actor. And it's like, you're like, I am still trapped in this room with the most annoying human I've ever had to tolerate. And that it's important because you have to see Stiggs' point of view. But after a while, you're like, oh my God, I'm still watching this movie. And it's not very long, but it's incredibly, it's just brash. It's wild. It's frenetic and cocaine fueled and very brightly colored. They've got this little sort of Apocalypse Now thing going on that was pretty fun. And Matt Mercer, who plays Stiggs, he is an actor and he does a better job of carrying his part of the film. So anyway, I think, again, if you like Joe Begos, if you like this kind of an idea, this very guerrilla style, let's see what we can do with as little as possible movie, I think you're going to enjoy it. And again, even if you get into it and you think, oh, this is not for me, it's not even 80 minutes long. So it's not that big of a commitment.
Yeah. Jimmy and Stiggs. And that one, that's in theater. Probably, this is one I guess is not going to take too long before it gets to streaming, I wouldn't think. but it's out in the theaters now. Jimmy and Stiggs. Eli Roth presents.
Next up, after the death of her husband, Tabitha, a tattooed, rebellious horse trainer, wrestles with financial insecurity and unresolved grief while providing refuge for a group of wayward teenagers on her broken-down ranch in the Badlands. It's east of Wall.
Yeah, the Badlands, more South Dakota.
Yeah.
Here we go. And this is the antithesis to the summer blockbusters. Everybody that is complaining about nothing but superheroes and sequels, here you go. This is a mix of fact and fiction because it's one of those along the lines of the Florida Project, along the lines of Nomadland, something like that, that takes a couple of very established veteran actors and mixes them with quote unquote real people who are really the stars here. And mainly Tabitha Zuniga is the matriarch of this family. And she's the centerpiece. And she, after the death of her husband about a year ago, she is struggling to keep their ranch alive. And she is known as a unparalleled, pretty much horse whisperer and trainer. But since her husband's death, she hasn't done a whole lot of it. Still selling the horses with the help of mainly her one daughter, Portia, who is a teenager and a champion barrel racer, and helps to take the horses to auction. But they're not bringing the prices that they should. And they get an offer from a big time rancher played by Scoot McNairy.
Always great.
Yeah, he's one of the established actors in here. The other one mainly is Jennifer Ellie.
Oh, she's also always
yes, who plays Tabitha's rowdy, to put it mildly, mother. And so Tabitha, she cuts an imposing figure. She's tattooed, she's pierced, she's got half a head shaved, and she doesn't take any shit.
No.
Okay, and she has to ride herd on this family of kids, not only her own, but she also sort of takes in some wayward teens who like her structure and like her rules and would rather stay at her place. And so she takes them in too. So she's got quite a brood and quite a bunch of acres and horses in this ranch. Well, the big city rancher says he'll buy it all from her, all of it, all 3,000 acres, the whole bit, and they can stay. They can stay on the ranch. Well, yes, but their birthright will be gone. So that's what she has to weigh, as the rancher says, take some time, think about it. And while she sizes him up and what he's really about and his offer and how her lives would change. And it's the feature debut for writer-director Kate Beecroft. And the camera and cinematography are great. I mean, her camera, it's very honest. It's very intimate. It's very, look, this is matter of fact. This is the way these people live. This is a way of life you may not know about, but here it is.
It does remind you of Chloe Zhao.
Yeah, it does. And here are these people. And the cinematography, wonderful. Not only the beauty of these horses, and some are just magnificent animals, but then the landscapes. You're out here in the Badlands of South Dakota, just beautiful. And it echoes the hard scrabble nature of these people, mainly women, a lot of girl power here. It shouldn't go unsaid, as they're carving out their place and their sense of meaning in their lives, when a lot of people don't think maybe that there is much to be said for what they're doing. So it's a quiet movie. Again, this is different from a lot of things that are out there right now, but in a good way. And it's very captivating. And as it looks at these people that you get to know, because they're playing themselves. Most of the people are playing themselves. Again, you have these couple of veteran actors to go in and center things from a performance standpoint, but the real people, they do just fine because it's the roles they were born to play, right? But it's captivating and it's beautiful to look at. And if you're just in the mood for something, tender and insightful, and just slow down and look at how this family is surviving, and probably a lot more real than any of your reality television. I'd be guessing that. Yeah. So I would recommend that. And it's in theaters now. It's called East of Wall.
Next in theaters, Jack ventures to remote New Zealand for the funeral of his estranged mother and meets her widow Jill. But his mother's spirit returns to inhabit each of their bodies, instigating a life-threatening three-way nocturnal dance. Went up the hill.
Well, speaking of reliable actors.
Yeah. Vicky Krieps.
Whew.
Yeah, she's just magnificent, and she's so effortlessly magnificent in everything she's in. And she leads this one as the widow. She's a widow, and her wife is an artist and an architect, and has maybe a little bit troubled, but we never meet her. She's passed on, and we meet Jill at the first memorial service where her late wife's estranged son, played by Stranger Things Dacre Montgomery, Jack. He shows up, and right away, Jill does not know. She never knew. She never knew that her wife had a son. And so when Jack says that it was Jill who invited him to the service, everybody's like, well, that's not even possible. And then Jill right away, no, I want him here. So something is going on right away. And what's going on is that Jill's wife has never really left. She's dead, but she's still there. And it's interesting. It's like you said, chamber piece. It's mostly just these two people in this ghost story. And it's set in isolated New Zealand in the winter. And the architecture of the house is so like sort of spare and concrete, and the colors are all like muted blues and grays. It's just been leached of life, really, the whole thing. It's so haunting and chilly and detached. And then as things go on, what happens is the ghost sort of takes over Jill for a while, and then talks with her son and hopes to bring her son some clarity, and then takes over her son and talks to her wife for a while, and then maybe things go where they shouldn't go. And it's very uncomfortable in that way. But what it unveils really slowly is that sometimes the people who were the most damaging in life still haunt us when they're gone. And it's really beautiful, haunting, and sad. And it reminds me a little bit of like Ghost Story, right? From a few years ago.
Love that.
It's such a different approach to a ghost story, and it's mainly about sort of loneliness and sadness. And although this one does, especially by the third act, it hones a lot closer to actual horror film.
Yeah, than like Ghost Story does.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, there's actually a ghost here, a malevolent force, but the performances are just beautiful, just brilliant. And it's a very quiet film, but and certainly if you're like a big horror fiend, you're not going to see this as a horror film.
Yeah.
But it is an outright ghost story, and it's spooky and tense in that way. The score is gorgeous, just sort of sounds, breathy sounds.
Ambient,
it was a very impressive film. And of course, Vicky Krieps, everything she's in, I'll see.
And the co-writer, director, Samuel Van Grinsven. Yeah, so that is recommended. A Went Up the Hill, Ghost Story.
Next up, a troubled LA school guard, haunted by family tragedy, experiences strange visions after a mysterious light appears in the sky. As his wife's due date approaches, he races to face his demons before his growing obsession consumes him. It's Descendant.
So we'll do a little sci-fi.
Yeah.
A little sci-fi horror.
Another alien abduction movie. Oh, this one, the producers are Benson and Moorhead, and you can really feel that about this movie. And it's written and directed by Peter Cialella, who is also an actor who's been in a lot of Benson and Moorhead films. This is his first feature. And it's really confident. It's really tight and well made. And it's about a man. His wife is 7 months pregnant. They are pregnant with their first child. He's a security guard at a school, and he climbs up on top of the school building to fix a light bulb. And he sees a flashing light in the sky, and then wakes up in a hospital and starts having weird stuff happening, and has this sense that he either has been abducted and let go, or he's actually still abducted someplace and caught. And this isn't really happening what he's living through. And it's an interesting premise, because it's really just setting up for something that they treat without comedy at all, which is that no matter what you've ever been through in your life, very little is as terrifying as the 2 months before you have your first baby. It's scary. Will the baby be safe? Is the baby not going to die? Is the baby going to be healthy? Is my wife going to die? Right?
Do we know what we're doing at all?
Right. We
don't.
And will I be a terrible dad because my dad was a terrible dad, because I wasn't raised very well? So all of these things, but they're never spoon fed to you. It's just the panic that this man is going through, manifesting as this alien abduction.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the reasons that it works so well, Ross Marquand plays the main character. He's wonderful. He's so haunted from the very opening, long before the incident, just from the opening, haunted, like by afraid that he's just not going to be up to this task. He's just not enough. He's not going to be enough for his wife. He's not going to be making enough money. He's not, and it's just there right beneath the surface. So after the trauma and after all of this thing starts happening, it feels very natural that he is spiraling in the way he does, but there's so much tenderness. He wants so much not to burden his wife, who again is very, very far along with all of his issues. But and Sarah Bolger plays his wife, and she gets this one great moment where she's like, "Oh, are you scared? Are you? Because I have this giant thing inside me that is going to have to make its way out my body at some point. I might die. I feel like I'm going to die." And it's just, and again, it's not really for humor as much as it is like, we're in this together, and this is scary. This is super, super scary. And I just think it's clever. It's very tender. It's creepy. And it's very impressive for a relatively low budget sci-fi film.
Yeah, and that's actually, it's a day and date, right? This is available on Prime and also in select
theaters,
in select theaters. So especially if you're a Benson Moorhead fan, as we are, they're involved as producers in this, and recommended. It's sci-fi horror of Descendant out there now.
An animated feature next. A teenager in suburban Florida desperately hustles to make $5,000 in this dreamy and surreal animated coming-of-age story called Boys Go to Jupiter.
Well, this is crazy. This is reviewed at MaddWolf.com by Matt Weiner, and he really liked it.
Yeah.
It's quite a trip.
Yes, yeah. The animation is really incredibly brightly colored and fun to watch, and it tells the story of this unreality where a kid needs to make $5,000, and all of the money is really with this one doctor who is voiced by Janine Garofalo, and he strikes up a friendship with her daughter, who is like anti-capitalism but is the daughter of the wealthiest person in town, and it's a fun adventure, but it's really funny and absurd, and it's by the end, it's a very insightful takedown of capitalism that's also a really, really fun, really well acted, really colorful animated feature. And so it had Matt Weiner's name all over it. It's a great movie, and it is in theaters. And so, especially if you're a fan of animation, it's a great one to watch on a big screen because it's so vibrant.
Definitely. So check out Matt's full review at MaddWolf.com, and you can check out Boys Go to Jupiter in theaters now.
Next, a documentary about young Sudanese yearning for freedom. Their evolution is poetic, driven by the power of words. The film reassembles fragments of a revolution, a battle pitting the voices of youth against the military's might. It's Sudan Remember Us.
A documentary from writer-director Hind Medab. Hope I pronounced that correctly. Rachel Willis reviewed this for us at MaddWolf.com, and she was blown away by it. Gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars.
Yeah.
Loved it. Very moving.
Very, very moving. Very poetic. Story about Sudan and it's just many years of oppression in so many different ways, and revolution, and how every time you take down one revolutionary, 1,000 more are born.
Yeah.
It's inspiring. It's incredibly sad. It's very powerful piece of filmmaking, and she loved it. It is in theaters now, so you can get the full impact. And I think a movie like this is great to watch with a crowd, so you can talk about it with other people afterwards. And so highly recommend that you seek it out if you get a chance to.
Yeah. And Rachel's full review is at MaddWolf.com, but it's Sudan Remember Us documentary in theaters now. Okay, I think he's back.
He's back.
Is he back? Is he there?
There he is.
Schlocketeer. How are you? Daniel Baldwin, aka the Schlocketeer. Back from summer break. Oh, can we hear you?
Can you?
Yes, we can. Good stuff. All right. Well, it's been a few weeks, so you've probably got a bunch of just tasty nuggets of studio info to throw our way.
Well, first up, Sony Animation's K-pop Demon Hunters has become the most watched new film on Netflix, and it's enough of a pop cultural phenomenon that Netflix and Sony are actually giving a sing-along version of it at theatrical release about a week from now on October 23rd and 24th.
Can I just pop in here for a second? I went last week.
You can K-pop in.
I can K-pop in. I went last week to visit my friend's granddaughter. I used to babysit for the boy in the middle, the dad, and Charlotte, and she just started singing a song to me, and I was like, oh, is that Taylor Swift? You're like, and it was from that movie. So then she had to go get out 9 different T-shirts to show me of that band, and I never felt so old.
Yeah, that'll do it. Moving on, Marvel's Thunderbolts will be available to stream on Disney Plus on October 27th. And then Disney's live-action remake of Lilo and Stitch will follow on Disney Plus on September 3rd.
Oh. Turn your ringer off.
Sorry. I'm an amateur.
Lilo and Stitch, what?
Lilo and Stitch will hit Disney Plus on September 3rd.
Okay, there you go. All right.
And then back in horror mode, Shout Studios' new thriller Just Breathe will receive a limited theatrical and VOD release on September 16th. And that one stars Kyle Gallner. So he's pretty good about picking projects. So
yes.
Yeah.
If you want to look out for. Scarlett Johansson's directorial debut, Eleanor the Great, is hitting theaters on September 26th, courtesy of Sony, and that stars June Squibb.
June Squibb, yeah. Looking forward to that.
Yes.
And the star on this one is a little iffy, but the supporting cast looks great, so it should mitigate things. But Shane Black has a new crime caper called Play Dirty, hitting Amazon Prime on October 1st. The lead is Mark Wahlberg. But he's supported by Lakeith Stanfield, Tony Shalhoub, Rosa Salazar, Dermot Mulroney, Keegan-Michael Key, and Thomas Jane. So
yeah, wow. No, you're right. That's a good group of people. And I might be the only person who thinks that the lead is sketchy. I don't know.
Well, normally, as we've said many times, it depends on his director. Because when Mark Wahlberg has worked with a good director, he has delivered some fine.
Oh yeah, Boogie Nights, he's amazing.
And Departed.
Yeah.
We're nominated for an Oscar.
That's
so.
Right.
But then you have The Happening.
You do have The Happening, yeah.
Moving on to a slightly higher caliber actor, Netflix is premiering their new Cillian Murphy starring drama Steve on October 3rd. Probably one to look out for. And then switching gears a little bit, IFC's dog-centric supernatural horror thriller Good Boy will arrive in theaters on October 3rd.
Very excited about that one.
And Brian Bertino's latest horror movie, Vicious, is getting a Paramount Plus and VOD release on October 10th, and that stars Dakota Fanning.
Ooh, okay.
And I've got 2 more for you. First up, Netflix has a musical animated adaptation of Roald Dahl's The Twits that's premiering October 17th. So might be one to keep an eye on.
Mm-hmm.
And then Disney and Searchlight Pictures will release their Brendan Fraser starring dramedy Rental Family in theaters on November 21st. That looks like it might be a big awards season title.
Usually that's definitely getting into award season releases.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. The return of Daniel. You can find him on the socials at the Schlocketeer. Hey, don't be a stranger.
Definitely not a Brian Bertino stranger.
Oh, nice callback. Nice callback. All right. Thank you. Looking ahead to next week. Oh, I didn't bring the paper. Do we have it?
We have it over here. Look on the screen.
There it is. Oh, so next week we're looking ahead to, well, we mentioned Drive Away Dolls.
That's right.
So now the next installment in that, Honey Don't is out next week.
That's right. Also Relay with Riz Ahmed that I saw last week. So I'm excited to talk about that.
One called Splitsville, Population U. No, it's just called Splitsville.
Also Trust.
Lily Lies Alone.
Hola Frida. Hola Frida.
And and Year of the Fox. Okay, that's next week. But another 10 to talk about this week. So what do you think? Nobody 2, Americana, Witchboard. What's going on? The Knife? Let us know. We always love to keep the conversation going. You can do that easily. You can find us on the socials, MaddWolf Columbus, on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, on Blue Sky, on TikTok. Man, there's a lot. And of course, here on YouTube with the videos, MaddWolf.com is the main website with all the written reviews and other fun stuff. So keep in touch. Enjoy the movies. We're winding down summer here. We'll get back again next week. And until then, she is Hope Madden.
He's George Wolf.
And this is the Screening Room Podcast.
See ya.
I do wish we could chat longer, but I'm having an old friend for dinner. Bye.